Welcome, honorable guests, distinguished speakers. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Today we'll be talking about just and orderly transition. So in the recent years, renewable energy has made a remarkable growth. This session we will touch on the policies and regulatory frameworks at local, national, and international levels, as well as highlighting the best practices and areas where improvements are needed to ensure a just transition. We will also delve into funding mechanism and investment strategies that can accelerate the shift to sustainable energy sources while addressing the financial concerns associated with a transition. So we humbly welcome our keynote speaker. She's the member of House Commission 7, the House of Representative Republic of Indonesia. Please welcome Dia Roro Esti.
Okay. Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace and blessings be upon you. Honorable Mr. Jisman, Director General of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Herman Darnel, Pak Satya Yuda, and also Pak Asnasio Lasman from the National Energy Council of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Didi from the Director of Legal and Human Capital of PLN, and everybody here. I saw Pak Archandra Tahar earlier as well, Bapak, and everybody from the Ministry of Forestry, Environment and Forestry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for being here. I was told earlier I would be given a pointer, so if somebody can help me really quickly. Today I kindly just wanted to highlight that climate change has proven itself as a global catastrophe and continues to be a rising problem today. According to the World Health Organization, there are at least 7 million deaths annually due to air pollution and more than 123,000 deaths in Indonesia alone. This in itself is a result of several human activities. We see this happening through the slash and burn and deforestation within the forestry sector. We see this happening through the fossil fuel usage, which is still dominating the energy sector today, as well as numerous industrial activities across sectors, to name a few. The continuous rise of global temperatures has also caused drought in different parts of the world, thus causing forest fires and in some extremes, lives lost worldwide. Indonesia, as a signatory of the Paris Agreement, of which some of you may already know, has committed to decrease greenhouse gas emissions by 31.8% and 43% with international aid by the year 2030. So this has substantially increased from the years prior. And recently during the COP27 discussions in Egypt, this has increased from 29%. And there are other regulations that are currently in place in Indonesia, which really just governs the process of energy transition, in which we hope we can see substantial changes within the sector. Sorry. This insight is also currently a follow-up to Law Number 16, year 2016. So this very much just highlights, for those of you who don't know the details in which this law entails, is really just an amplification of the nationally determined contributions in Indonesia, consisting of the ways in which we can decrease our greenhouse gas emissions. Additionally, there has been various momentums happening in Indonesia alone. So recently, we held the G20 summit. This is something that we're very proud of. And there has been numerous agreements which took place during the G20 summit, one of which includes the securing of the Just Energy Transition Partnership. And we see that President Joko Widodo has in numerous times exhibited how urgent this climate matter is and how there needs to be fast action taking place in the country. And the coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs, Mr. Erlangga Hartarto, who is also the head Sherpa of the G20 summit in Indonesia, has stated that there needs to be a follow-up with regards to the energy transition financial mechanisms happening in the country. And so one of which including the JETP. So regardless of being able to ally across different countries in achieving this target, there needs to be follow-up. And so this is what we're seeing every single year, and this is currently the situation right now with the G20 summit happening this year. And the goal is, of course, to also decrease not only greenhouse gas emissions, but also achieve our net zero emissions target by 2060. So this is a year that has been agreed upon numerous institutions. And I'd like to kind of use this opportunity to also give a little insight and update with regards to a bill that the Indonesian Parliament is currently working on, which is the new and renewable energy bill. This is something that on a year-to-year basis I would share during the COP, Conference of the Parties, and this is something that we do wish to achieve as soon as possible. The process is lengthy. As you can see, this initiated in 2019 to 2020. So it's, let's say 2020, so it's been a good 3 years. And this consists of several meetings with multi-sectors, whether it be coming from the government, whether it be coming from CSOs, from academia as well. And the most important thing here is that there is momentum for it, given that within the Indonesian parliament, there are 9 political parties in parliament at the moment. And so any kind of bill being passed needs to be agreed upon by these members and by these political parties. And seeing that there is a commitment, this in itself is something monumental and has never happened before. Apart from the ratification of the Paris Agreement, which happened in 2016. And so here recently, this is the very recent update I wanted to share with everybody, is that we have essentially finished and discussed the components of the new and renewable energy bill. So this consists of more than 500 verses. You can imagine how many debates that entailed with the government. So we have the Ministry of Energy present here today as well. And there are several pending items. So this is something that I think is important for you to also know with regards to the formation of an oversight body catering towards the renewable energy sector, as well as several financing schemes. So these are still under discussion and will continue to be a focus. And the last point I'd like to share here, because the topic I wanted to also elaborate on is what really is the role of women in enabling and becoming a pivotal role in the process of energy transition in the country. And as parliamentarians, it has been proven that women participation in policy making and those women in leadership positions actually have the potential of pushing policies that cater towards creating a sustainable future. So several researchers show that women tend to think long-term, the long-term effects of policies being stressed upon. As we see that there is a growing trend of women participation in politics, this is something that is laudable and applaudable, and we do hope that in the coming elections in 2024 we continuously see these numbers growing. So in the 2019 to 2024 period, there are 124 out of 575 members of parliament who are women. And we see that this trend from the previous terms, especially in 1999, where there were only 45 members of parliament who are women. And so this positive trend, I hope, can be a pivotal and a beacon of hope for Indonesian, not only politics, but for Indonesia's sustainable future. This may seem like not a big thing, but actually this is what determines Indonesia's future. And so having quality members of parliament also determines where we are headed. And aside from this, I'd like to also highlight that, women have numerous roles, whether it be as a politician, also members of the household. And I think this is something that a lot of people take for granted. The role of mothers in educating their children, the role of mothers in educating the future generations of a country. And so when a mother is able to educate what it means to conserve energy, what it means to cater towards energy transition, what it means to optimize on energy that is fueled by something, a resource that is always livable. As we know right now, we're optimizing on fossil fuels, which has an expiry date. And so this role of not only mothers, but as wives and as members of society plays a crucial and important role. And there's a quote here, as you see on the screen: when you educate a man, you educate a man. But when you educate a woman, you educate a whole generation. And so that really just transcends the importance of the household in creating the changes that we'd like to see for the country. And so I believe that these small changes create significant impact. And lastly, on the implementation of the SDGs, we see that there are fewer women catering towards the STEM fields of study, whether it be in university or professional jobs. And we understand that when we give more room for women to participate in these fields, and one of the goals actually from the new and renewable energy bill is to create new jobs, creating new greener job opportunities for our country to continuously flourish, for our country to not only abide but achieve its national targets of achieving and becoming one of the largest economies in the world, the fourth largest economy in 2045, optimizing on our demographic dividend. We know that 68% of our total population are of the productive age. And so when we give room and job opportunities for our society to flourish, they will then contribute to this productivity for us to then achieve these targets. And so the implementation of the SDGs in this regard cater towards how we can, number 5, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. SDG number 7, this is very important, something that I am very passionate about, is ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all, so clean and affordable energy, as well as SDG 10, how we can reduce inequality within and among countries. And so we do need systematic changes. And lastly, I'd like to kind of just point out that in creating any kind of change, we need to work together. And so whether it be, how we can come together as parliamentarians, but also work alongside our working partners, the ministry, whether it be from the energy sector, industry, from the forestry, environmental sectors, how we can work together in creating the policies and the changes that we need to see for the country, as well as CSOs and also members of the society. Here recently, we inaugurated the electrification of houses in the villages of my province in Gresik and Lamongan of East Java. And so this is something that is applaudable, and Ministry of Energy was there, the PLN, the State Electricity Company was there as well. So this is something that we hope to see flourish in the years to come. I'd like to end this speech by just reminding everybody that we need to move with the very spirit of Gotong Royong. Gotong Royong means collectively working together side by side in achieving a target, and this is what our country stands for. And I do hope that we continuously remember to work together. So thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Haroro Esti for the remarkable keynote remarks. Well, it's truly an honor for us today that we can hear perspectives from both legislative and executive. So our second keynote speaker will share a perspective from the executive or the government. He's the Director General of Electricity from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. Let's put our hands together for Bapak Jisman Hutajulu.
Thank you very much, distinguished speaker. Ada Ibu Diah Roro ST, Commission 7, the House of Representative, Pak Yusuf Didi Setiarto, Director of Legal and Human Capital PLN, Honorable Mrs. Pang Yulin, Sustainability and Climate Change Leader PwC Singapore, my colleagues, Mr. Herman Daniel Ibrahim, member of National Energy Council, special good evening for you, Pak. Mr. Francisco Garcia Co, Technical Director of Climate Policy, Finance and Carbon Market, South Pole. Distinguished participant, ladies and gentlemen, I saw Pak Archandra Tahar here. Good evening, Pak. Vice Minister Energy and Mineral Resources 2016 to 2019. Good evening, everyone. It is great pleasure for me to attend this also in just an orderly transition. When we are talking about net zero emission, we have two big challenges. First challenge is on how we reduce the emission from the existing power plant through phasing down or phasing out. Currently, we have around 85 gigawatt existing power generation, and most of them are from coal. We try to decrease CO2 emission by 2060 by retrofitting coal power plant with ammonia or green hydrogen up to the end of PPA agreement. Early retirement is possible if the financing is ready and it will not disrupt the reliability of the system operation. Second challenge is on how we bring more renewable energy to replace the existing fossil and to fulfill the demand growth by around 5% per year. Actually, Indonesia has abundant renewable energy resources with around 3.6 terawatt. However, only 12.6 gigawatt has been utilized. In order to support global commitment and as part of countries that are responsible to global warming, Indonesia has set nationally determined contribution NDC in energy sector with 129 million tons of CO2 by 2060. This emission will be offset by the forestry sector to achieve net zero emission by 2060. In the electricity sector, we set CO2 emission by 0 tons in 2060. We predict the highest emission will reach peak in the 2030 and gradually decreasing until reach zero emission in 2060. Currently, we have developed National Electricity General Plan, we call it RUKN, as a basis to achieve net zero emission target in the electricity sector in 2060. Every power utilities, including PLN, will set their electricity business plan, RUPTL, based on National Electricity Plan, or RUKN. Total additional power plant in RUKN by 2060 is around 427 gigawatt, with 52% is variable renewable energy, equipped with the storage, and remaining is coming from non-VRE or dispatchable generators. We are projecting that solar power will be massively increased in 2030, mostly floating solar PV by utilizing hydro dams. Wind power plants will increase in 2037. Geothermal power plant will be gradually increased and reach 22 gigawatt by 2060. Hydropower plant will be 77 gigawatt in 2060. Green hydrogen production is planned to start in 2031. We also set 9 gigawatt from another new and renewable energy sources to fulfill the increasing demand. In the future, epicentrum of demand is still in Java Bali system and Sulawesi with the expansion of smelter industries. However, the renewable energy potential is far away. So we need to strengthen the electricity infrastructure. We plan to develop Nusantara Supergrid to connect 5 main islands, Sumatra, Java, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and Nusa Tenggara, Bali. The Sumatra-Java interconnection is urgently needed to be developed. We plan the interconnection high voltage AC and high voltage DC in 2029 will be operated. We need interconnection from North Kalimantan to Java Island and to Sulawesi to evacuate around 13 gigawatt of hydropower potential in there. In Papua Island, there is more than 7 gigawatt of hydropower potential. Hopefully, we encourage the development of green hydrogen and green ammonia. The modernization of grid system by using smart grid could be improve the penetration of ERE. We believe that no energy transition without transmission and no security without interconnectivity. We emphasize more collaboration of local and international partners in helping Indonesia achieving its net zero emission target by 2060. Thank you. That's all my speech. I hope you will be beneficial for you. And good evening.
Thank you, Pak Jisman, for the wonderful remarks. So let's deep dive into the discussion by inviting all the speakers on stage. Being the first one, he's the Director of Legal and Human Capital PT PLN Persero, Bapak Yusuf Didi Setiarto. And also Sustainability and Climate Change Leader from PwC Singapore, Ms. Fang Yulin. And Bapak Herman Darnel Ibrahim, member of National Energy Council. The Technical Director for Climate Policy, Finance and Carbon Market South Pole, Mr. Francisco Garcia Koch. I apologize if I mispronounce your name, sir. Oh, he's not here yet? Oh, already? Joining online? Oh, sorry. It's getting late, right? Okay. And of course, to lead the session, we have our moderator. He's the EVP of Human Talent Development from PT PLN Persero, Bapak Dedi. Silakan, Pak. And as mentioned by Pak Jisman earlier, it's our pleasure that we have some eminent VIP in the audience. Pak Archandra Tahar, do you mind to move forward and sit on the front row? Silakan, Pak. Thank you. It's all yours, Pak Dedi.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening for all speaker and all audience. My name is Dedi Buditomo. I'm from BTPLN, the Indonesian state-owned electricity company, and I'm honored and happy to be your moderator today. And we are lucky in this session because we have an excellent speaker and discussed about something new and an interesting topic about the just and orderly transition. As we know, in the context of the energy transition era, where societies are shifting from traditional fossil fuel to more renewable energy source, several enablers are crucial for ensuring a just and orderly transition. In the session, we will discuss more about how individual, organization, and also the governance can contribute more about the just and orderly transition, and also minimizing disruption and ensuring a positive outcome for all stakeholders. In the first session, I will invite Mr. Yusuf Didi Setiarto, the Director of Legal and Human Capital Management of PT PLN Persero, to share the idea and experience how PLN facing the energy transition, or how PLN to preparing human capital as enabler of the energy transition. Mr. Didi, time is yours.
Ya, terima kasih. Thank you, Pak Dedi. Good evening, everybody. It is very honorable for me to be here to explain it's not an easy topic because we have to have a better or good understanding about all of the consequences of the energy transition. In the context of PLN, we would like to share to all of you about this situation. As mentioned and explained regularly by our CEO, Pak Darmo, on this slide, this is the concept of the acceleration of renewable energy development in PLN. We are not adopt the business as usual concept and also the ultra acceleration, but we trying to be more moderate. So we choose the middle way. So if we do nothing on our effort to reduce the emission, the potency of the emission is around 1,057 million ton CO2 a year. However, management PLN already declared the concept of acceleration renewable energy development. That is the graphic. The volume needs to be achieved in the near of future, could be around 2040. So might be this very ambitious in the Indonesian context because there are some unique condition or situation in Indonesia cannot be comparable to the other countries. So to address the challenge and potential area needs to be deep discussion based on our evaluation is about the labor displacement, energy affordability, energy security, and resilience, waste, and pollution. There are 4 areas in Indonesia context we believe that need to be deeply discussed and trying to find the better solution for deal of party concern. Because when we are talking about the energy transition, we have to think about many angles. Yeah, we cannot just talk about the environmental point of view, but also social, economics, politics, and other situations. So that when we are talking about the labor displacement, our calculation might be around 50,000 people will be impacted if we implement the energy transition. However, we believe that if we trying too hard to implement this energy transition, we can solve this situation. And the second issue is a little bit difficult in Indonesia context, as we know that majority or the current situation in Indonesia, almost all of the customer of PLN got the subsidy and also the compensation from the government. So if we implement this energy transition in Indonesia without any calculation or analysis impact on this, it creates the difficult situation for Indonesia. Therefore, we have to decide the energy transition agenda and also development to be careful. And also the energy security and resilience. We understand that when we install the renewable energy, especially the variable renewable energy, and it's under the intermittency situation, we need to invest some equipment or other stuff to handle the intermittency situation. It's create additional investment in PLN concept. So the LCOA potentially increase around 5 cents per kilowatt hours. And also the energy transition create the waste and pollution. We know that the solar PV have duration for their operation, so need to be handled in the end of their life cycle. So we have to think how to reduce the waste and pollution after the battery or solar panel waste and others. So in our prediction and our efforts to handle the potential problem on the energy transition, we learn from some countries as a comparison. For example, on the labor displacement. In Germany, to support the effective worker, Germany government retraining, relocation to the new job, fund for the early retirement and other stuff. So might be for some extent Indonesia can copy, but cannot ideal like Germany government do. And also for the energy affordability. In Indonesia, like I said before, dominantly our customer now subsidized and compensate by the government about certain volume of money. And Germany, we learn from the government of Germany, power price compensation for the household and industry. Might be the approaches could be same, but the volume of number of rupiah or US dollar could be different. So we have to think careful about the impact of the energy transition. In the previous slide, the impact is for the levelized cost of electricity is around 50%. And for the energy security and resilience, learning from the South Africa, monitoring and adjustment and measure. So we have to make a comparative study to other countries, how they handle, and we would like to look and study based on the experience in other countries, that based on that learning curve and product knowledge in the other country, we can adapt it to Indonesia context to optimize the cost impacted for the energy transition. And for waste and pollution, we believe that some countries now under research and development, how to handle the battery, how to handle the solar PV and other stuff related to the equipment in the energy transition or renewable energy. And as part of my job in PLN, for the preparation of the workforce, now PLN prepare some employees to have a formal education with training and also workshop and also the comparative study and also the internship in some company in our strategic partner to have a good experience. Therefore, now we send at least around 300 employees to get the master degree in abroad, in Australia, in UK, and also in US. The idea of this, we need to inject the new DNA of PLN employee. Traditionally, PLN has the knowledge and capacity on the fossil-based power plant. Therefore, to face the energy transition, Directorate Human Capital prepare all of the human capital strategy for the successful on the energy transition. And the area needs to be improved on the generation side and also the transmission and distribution. We got some support from our partner like a World Bank, ADB, Denmark, and Energy Agency, and others strategic partner in the world. Also, some of the government like Australia, US, Japanese government from JICA and also the METI gave fully support to the PLN mission to increase the capability and capacity of PLN employee. So it is very helpful. Thank you for our strategic partner on the preparation of the workforce and the PLN. And learning and development will given various methods. So for the executive level, we have a class to handle this, BOD -1. We have a methodology how to increase their capacity on the transition energy. And also for the PLN-wide energy transition capacity building involve of many levels of PLN. We also have a strategy to do that through the training program, comparative study, internship program, and others. And also give the exposure to the international best practice standard. So now many program PLN employees sent to the abroad, like in California, we send every year at least 8 or until 10 employees to have the grid management on the Cisco, California, I forgot the name. Kaiso, yeah. And also in Denmark, we just send some employee to have the exposure and energy transition, how the Denmark handle the grid and the system in Denmark context. And many government of Europe and also the Japanese government gave fully support to PLN employee. Formal education, as I explained before. So we do hope the next 2 years we have many human resources to handle this new era. We believe that PLN will more ready to speak out on the energy transition compared with the current situation, because our young talented employee have many exposure, not only from the formal education, but also from other methodology. Next, require next steps. The first one is define the transition impact roadmap by creating detailed analysis of just transition for individual energy transition project. So that during the discussion with ADB, with World Bank, and other institutions who have agenda for the early retirement, I personally always to remind them, we have to be careful. Not only talking about the people, the social impact, the economic impact, but also for the system. We have to calculate carefully, because the situation of Indonesia is very unique. However, we support this with certain conditions, terms and conditions. And the second one is establish partnership with international organizations. That I already mentioned, many international institutions now give fully support for the PLN. So the communication, the coordination, and other stuff to encouraged to give the support for the PLN already in place. So we are very happy for the collaboration with the international partner. And the third one is invest in renewable build and supporting the capital for the just transition aspect, such as training and land rehabilitation. That's all from my part. I do hope that from this evening discussion, I can get some insight from you or question that we can discuss later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Didi, for sharing the insight. How PLN navigating complexities for facing just and orderly transition, and especially in preparing competency shifting of human capital. So in the next perspective will be shared by Mrs. Fang Yulin, Sustainability and Climate Change Leader at BBC Singapore. Time is yours, Ms. Fang Yulin.
Yeah, thanks. And very, very thankful for the Indonesian Pavilion for inviting us today to speak on the just transition. I do admit that I'm part of the people actually standing in between yourselves and also dinner. And I hope to be swift and hasty about what I'm going to say. Firstly, I just wanted to actually acknowledge, that personally I've had a lot of interactions with Indonesia. Firstly, through my work in sustainability, being able to work on sustainable development projects, SDG goals projects, particularly in Kerinci. And I have to say that it has been such an eye-opening experience, knowing firsthand that actually we really need, as what Ibu said, a gotong royong type of perspective in order to solve some of the most difficult issues. And the other thing that I've learned as well through my work in Indonesia is that it is no one size fits all. It has to be down to that level where you understand truly what are the needs and also the interventions that need to be made. So no one size fits all. The other area that I worked closely with Indonesia on was in my previous life as a young consultant in the financial services area. Firsthand, knowing that financing can actually really uplift lives, and I've seen it as Indonesia progressed over the decade. And I think that something that can really help is in relation to the financial services area as well. And last but not least, a more personal area was that Indonesia is a very beautiful country, and I took time, many times as well, to go over there to take photographs, which I love. So lots of intersections with Indonesia. Now back to work. First thing I wanted to say was that I resonated very well with what Pak Yusof said. I do think that, for the energy area, through the work that I've done, there's lots of things that we can learn from each other. Scope 1, 2, and 3 are quite significant, in the energy sector. From the transition of energy itself, from a Scope 1 perspective, looking and seeing whether or not, we can manage, say, for example, SF6 emissions, but at the same time as well, being very disciplined about our transmission and distribution losses as well. Not to be overshadowed is, or ignored is really our Scope 3 emissions, which we can continue to do more of in terms of how we purchase and how we operate in terms of our value chain. The next area I wanted to share, which really resonated with some of the previous speakers, was about women. I do think that in Southeast Asia, generally not only from an energy security perspective, I think we are challenged, but from a women perspective, SDG 5. And if we double-click on what SDG 5 actually means, number one, it actually means more women in politics. So kudos to you for stepping up. And that is absolutely the key thing. Sometimes, when companies, right, they view, SDG 5, yes, I'm gonna, invest in that SDG 5. But if you double-click on that, it actually means different things. It means having more politicians who are women, having more educated women as well. And I'm very, very glad to see that in Southeast Asia, this is becoming more and more of a norm. And as you know, in terms of norms education, you need to actually have norms emergence and then norms cascading. And in the future, hopefully by 2030, we will see a more fair and equitable society. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, now coming back to what other things resonated with me. I know just now you said upskilling, right? And I absolutely agree with that. In my own view, we are already entering into a disorderly transition. A disorderly transition, we are actually at the tip in relation to climate risk, physical and transition. But the disorderly transition is already occurring in terms of capabilities. There's just too much for us to handle in relation to our capabilities. I will liken it to digital. So in the digital arena, you'll find that it is accelerated. So it's a little bit like a hockey stick. Astro Teller is the previous Google X CEO, and he coined this Nike stick, right, where digital acceleration is accelerated, and the only way that human capability can solve this is really through upskilling. But I have to say that from a sustainability perspective, that's also quite similar as well. We're going through an acceleration of the demand to know things on sustainability, which is a bullet train. The two things I think that can help with that is, number one, we do need capacity building, and that's through education throughout universities, Institute of Higher Learnings, and so on. But the second thing is to get talented people into sustainability. And who are the talented people I think specifically we need? Are the youth. I'm not going to be around in 50 years' time, or 100 years' time, but the youth are going to be around, and they're going to be inheriting this earth. So to deal with the acceleration of sustainability, I think we need talent in it, but also young people to come into the fore as well. So that's one thing. Okay, now that I've just finished with one slide, let me just move on. And to the discussion itself, we just released a report in terms of the landscape of net zero targets in Southeast Asia. And to be honest, I think that we are doing quite well. 7 out of the 10 Southeast Asian countries have already set net zero targets, one of them carbon neutral. And in relation to their renewable energy targets, they are also pushing along, and also in relation to their policies as well, including in the area of carbon mechanisms such as carbon tax. So things are happening. One thing, though, that I'll have to say is that, yes, we are, I think someone said just now that we are in a unique situation here in Southeast Asia. We are a very unique situation. And this can be because of our state of development globally. And one of the key things that I think, despite the fact that we do have coal in Southeast Asia, one of the key things is that we have also signed or have been involved with the COP26 Global Coal to Clean Power Transition Statement as well. So wanted to just acknowledge that. Now, this number struck me, of course, when my colleagues gave me this paper, and then I saw the number here. The number of employees in the sector of Indonesia which could be impacted by the transition, 1,428,556. By the way, I'm a chartered accountant, so numbers really speak to me. This is basically 1/4 of the population of Singapore. I cannot fathom to have 1/4 of the population of Singapore being subjected to a just transition. So I think it is not small in relation to the just transition that countries have to go through, and it must be dealt with. Of course, there are frameworks to help in relation to the just transition. One of the key ones is the GFENS one in relation to manage phase out of a plan for coal-fired power plants, but let me just double click on that. I think that, yes, we do want to decarbonize, but it has to be just. Of course, we want to make sure that there's a positive climate impact, but at the same time, we do need to make sure that the decommissioning does not interrupt, I think what you said, Pak Yusof, the continued access to energy, but at the same time, as well, the communities should be properly transitioned as well. The last thing also is that it does need to be financially viable. So different types of mechanisms, different types of financing innovation, such as blended finance and concessionary capital, needs to be at play too. And this is my last slide. You can see here that from a perspective of the average age of coal-fired power plants in Asia, in Southeast Asia, it is definitely the youngest. So it is quite crucial that we take a collaborative approach towards the just transition because we have a longer tail in terms of our CFPPs. And I will have to say, what I've learned at COP is that we need finance, we need not only the financial economy to move, we need the real economy to move. At the same time, we need to make sure that we pull in different aspects of societies, and they are important all around, social interest groups. We need leadership, we need academics, we need experts, we need women, and we also need the youth as well. So I really resonated when you said gotong royong, and we need gotong royong all around from all sectors of society for a just transition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fang, for your valuable insight, and I know that you emphasize that one thing same with Mr. Didi, that if we're talking about the energy transition, we must pay more attention to preparing young talent and give them with the better education, and so in the future they will be ready to face the energy transition. It's interesting, Mr. Fang. And now let's turn our attention to Mr. Herman Daniel Ibrahim, a member of the National Energy Council Indonesia. Mr. Herman will elaborate about the challenge and strategies to achieve just and orderly transition. Mr. Herman, time is yours.
Good evening, everybody. The honorable people, as stated by Pak Josman, so I don't have to repeat. Pak Josman has already mentioned the honorable, so honorable person as stated by Pak Josman and also the speaker. So my topic is a hard topic for me because my professional background is power, but now I have to speak about just transition. But before that, maybe I would like to share with Miss about gender equality. Yeah? For Indonesia, gender equality, at home, women stronger than men at home. Yeah? And also, as older we are, like myself, above 60, more stronger. Women more stronger. And men getting weaker after 60. This is just to share with you. Okay, first about definition. Definition, yeah. There are definition about just transition. But I think I found definition can be made by every parties. So every parties has their own definition. Also like, I have to, not easy, you have, you just, I think I can see here, yeah, definition. So I define just an orderly transition, my own definition, yeah, my own definition. First, ensure the adequate and secure electricity and energy supply and affordability of energy prices along the transition process. The transition does not burden the national economy and does not reduce the government ability to achieve economic development targets, especially to exit from low middle income countries by 2045. Yeah? As targeted in our national long-term plan. Then, this is, I think, similar to Buroro, yeah. I put the most important is achievement of the SDGs. So energy transition is priority, lower priority than to achieve the SDGs. Because in SDGs, it's only one, yeah, number 7, yeah. SDG number 7, low carbon energy, yeah, low emission. So transition does not affect the ability of government to achieve the sustainability development goals. Loss of jobs especially, and loss of government revenues replacement. You said 5 minutes more, yeah? But I can make it 3 minutes. Okay, I jump to the one about, next slide, landscape. So in my observation, just energy transition so far, maybe like a popular jargon, yeah, popular jargon to do the transition, especially in developing countries, but not really justice. Yeah, I found not really justice. That's what I feel. So this energy transition project to achieve net zero emission. There are, I just touched the non-physical projects, yeah. Setting the target, policy and strategy to boosting renewable and low carbon energy and declining fossil energy use. Setting the roadmap, also inventory of renewable energy potential, capacity building, as also mentioned by Pak Didi, to develop awareness, leadership, commitment, and cohesiveness among the leaders. Develop positive attitudes, commitment of energy and industry leaders to implement decarbonization. And develop public attitudes, awareness, and support to climate change and deep decarbonization program. And then develop international cooperation and partnerships for technology, funding support, and best practices. Next slide is the landscape. I show you this landscape. Landscape. The diagram. Mundur. Back. It didn't work. Maybe it's one direction, yeah?
One-way ticket.
Okay. I have it here, yeah? I think to be quick, I just move to the key success factor of energy transition. Yeah. First, the deployment of main resources. Main resources is renewable energy resources, allocation of land, yeah, because the energy to be used in the future is low density energy, like biomass, solar. It will require spacious of land. And then also technology. And then, okay, sorry, not technology. Energy transition funds, yeah. For Indonesia, at least $1 trillion to implement the transition. Technology revolution. Variable renewable energy, solar and wind, and their integration, storage technology and production, and utilization of hydrogen and ammonia, technology of CCS and CCUS, effective regulation and strategy, and then also leadership and collaboration. Leadership and intergovernmental sectors and institution collaboration. Commitment of major energy players like PLN and Pertamina, and cohesiveness among national elites. I think I should elaborate a bit. If we do energy transition, what I expect, there is no political, among the elite of the politics will accept and will support. So we cannot have different political view on this transition aspect. Public acceptance and support. This will exist if we maintain supply security, price affordability, and achievement of SDGs. Public support and climate action, public acceptance and transition impacts. And lastly is international support and cooperation. So I just ask a simple question to public, what do you choose, cleaner energy or cheaper energy? Most public say cheaper energy in Indonesia, not cleaner. So this also indicates that for the just energy transition, cheap energy is important than cleaner energy. Yeah. So for PLN, Pak, the most important is cheaper. Yeah. Cheaper than cleaner. Okay. Now the maybe I go to the strategy. Yeah. Challenge. Yeah. The challenge, maintaining electricity and energy supply security and price affordability. That's not easy. And if we do accelerate the coal phase out, that can lead into energy crisis. That can lead into, I said in the forum, if we cannot provide secure supply and also affordability price, the energy transition will be, I said it, crash take off. You take off, but if it happen, it will not, because crash will not fly again after that. There will be no transition. I say that in front of the forum that support energy transition partnership last month in Jakarta, and they don't challenge me, so they accept it. Yeah, they accept that it is important to keep the energy security and also the energy affordability because that's the foundation. And if this cannot be made, then transition, we cannot go with the transition. Because there are minutes, I think I end this because so many slides, yeah, 10 minutes, so many slides maybe. So that's all for me, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Herman, for the sharing. And we know that Mr. Herman shared about the key of success and also the challenge of the just and orderly energy transition. But it's interesting that Mr. Herman also note the definition of both just and orderly transition. So we can consider the definition as a part of our guidance in the next future, Mr. Herman. So our last speaker, Mr. Francisco Garciaco, Technical Director for Climate Policy, Finance and Carbon Market, South Pole. So he will tell us about the project level implementation of just energy transition. Mr. Francisco, feel free to take the lead.
Well, good evening, everybody. And well, first of all, really thank you. This has been truly inspiring, and it's always good, to hear the reality that there is a real world out there that many people tend to ignore, and Energy 101, which I'm very glad to have heard of because I keep on repeating this. First, when you click on the switch, there has to be light, there has to be electricity, you have to have a security. Then it's got to be affordable. If you can't meet those objectives, you're not getting anywhere. So, and also what I've heard again, and I couldn't agree more, whether people like it or not, just energy transition comes with a cost. And you cannot have a successful, scalable, clean energy transition if it's not a just one. It has to be just, otherwise it's doomed to failure. And when I saw the 1 million figure, when I see employees, I don't know, of course, how many are married, how big are their families, but I see families. I don't not just see the employees. When I see that number, I multiply it by 4, 5, 3. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of citizens. So when one is thinking about early coal-fired power plant retirement, for example, one needs to think of the impact that one has on people, our own people. So, what I would like to share with you today, I mean, we've heard, you know, I'm not going to repeat what we've heard it. I've said it better than I could have ever said it. I would like to think I'd probably focus on the on how to operationalize just transition. If I may have the okay, thanks. Right. In the context when we discuss just transition, the emphasis seems to be nowadays on the infrastructure, on the iron, on the steel, on the concrete that is associated with a project. But the human dimension, even though it's mentioned, it is sometimes mentioned at a very, very high level. And high level, of course, is not going to get reality completed on the ground. And we believe, therefore, that, that in order to actually operationalize just transition, one has to do the kind of like work that we've heard from our colleagues here, our experts, what PLN is doing, identifying who are going to be the stakeholders that are going to be affected when you, for example, retire a coal plant before the date it would have otherwise been retired by. Who is going to be affected by this? It's not just the workers in the actual power plant. We're talking about big power plants here that are key to the communities in which they are located. Communities are also affected. The maintenance company that is providing services to this coal plant, what is going to become of them when the coal plant ceases to run? What is going to become of the people transporting the coal to the plant when the plant shuts down? And when we look at this at scale, what is the impact of the entire coal industry when we deal with this? So, identifying how clean energy transition actually impacts not just people in the plant, but outside the plant is key to establishing where you are at the moment you're thinking of, let's say, retiring a coal plant. And then, just transition is not just about making sure, I would like to think that just transition is not just about making sure that people are not worse off than they were as a result of retiring a coal plant, for example, but I'd like to think they're actually better off. Because only if they're better off will we get people in all our countries to really embrace just transition, a clean energy transition. It's something that people have to embrace. They have to feel that they're going to be better off as a result of a clean energy transition. Now, these are all quite great words, but how do you actually implement this? So obviously you've got to think about a plan. And for example, again, referring to a coal plant that is being retired ahead of its time, you don't do just transition the day the coal plant is decommissioned. That process starts before, as we've heard. You need to know, you need to plan, because you know that workers are going to be left out of job. Some of them can be retrained. Other ones, like me, for example, I've had it. I would need to retire early. I would need severance pay, or the company that is providing maintenance. You've got to build a capacity before the plant is actually shut down. So that needs to be planned in advance. And then, of course, implementation. Implementation is not just about the work that, for example, PLN has to do with its employees. How do you implement the just transition plan for those communities? I don't think you can expect PLN to take care of what's going to happen to the communities and someone who's trucking coal. There has to be a governance system for the just transition plan to allow everybody that is going to be affected by the retirement of a coal plant to make sure that they're not going to be worse off at the end of the day. Now I'll skip. Right, on the issue of costs. I mean, you've made it very, very clear. You know, we kind of like dismiss that there is a cost, and those numbers speak very, very clearly that there is a cost. So then the question is, you know, where do we get the money from? We've talked about, I mean, this, you know, every cost, yeah, but who's going to pay for it? Okay. Now, carbon financing is one, let's say, type of concessional finance, so to speak. I mean, in practical terms, it's like you can view it as a source of grant. Now, the carbon markets, in principle, can contribute to addressing the issue of the cost of just transition. And the frameworks that currently exist that govern the carbon markets can also be used to actually enable just transition to be monetized as well, in a positive sense. Now, to illustrate one of several solutions that are out there to allow you to generate additional revenues to support the just transition, there's a coal to clean credit initiative. This is an initiative that has a strong backing from the Indonesian government. We believe that also the carbon market is keen on buying not just carbon credits that allow a coal plant to be retired sooner and be replaced by renewable energy, but also one that can guarantee the just transition is actually going to be realized. And that is not only a key selling point, but also something that, the carbon market infrastructure can do. Why do I say this? Because one thing is to have a very nice design of a just transition plan on paper, but paper is not good enough. Just transition plan is only good when it actually delivers the results. And the same frameworks that allow you to monetize emissions reductions can be used to monetize just transition or to support revenue to be generated for it. And how do we go about that, for example, using the tools that exist? Well, you establish, for example, KPIs. You ensure that carbon credits can only be issued once the compensation that has been agreed to be awarded to those affected has been delivered. So you provide a means of ensuring that those that are affected by the clean transition actually get the money at the end of the day that they need, the compensation that they need. So the costs that you have been referred to are delivered at the end of the day. And hopefully in so doing, not only do you address the issue of costs by finding an alternative source of revenue, but you can also ensure the buy-in of the people, all our people that are eventually going to be affected by it. So with that, again, I just want to thank everybody for all the insights. And I arrived a little bit tired, but now really, after all I've heard, I feel like quite the opposite. I actually feel rejuvenated. So thank you. Thank everybody and all of you for having me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Francisco. You give your sharing about the other perspective, especially in coal to clean credit initiative. That you emphasize that all project will be required to develop, implement, and finance a just transition plan. Is interesting. So, because the limitation of time, there's one question from this.
Thank you, moderator. I think everybody understand that entering to the renewable energy is better for life. Yeah. It has been talked since the COP. I started since the Madrid, Morocco until now. I attended every year, yeah, and talking the same. Yeah. Now the name just transition, but same. How to enter the newer renewable energy. Yeah. Yeah. Pak Daniel maybe now. I've been attending to COP many times. Yeah. I was in Kadin Chamber of Commerce and then Vice President of Renewable Energy and Environmental. Yeah. But I'm so investor for renewable energy, yeah, Indonesia. But I find so difficult to enter because basically to enter, even though this is no need to just transition. Yes, we have to switch the power from fossil to renewable. This is for healthy everything. Now everybody knows that. But to enter is not easy, though. Yeah. Financing, I'm no problem. Many financing to offer. But the problem is policy. How the RUPTL, Pak. Sometimes we enter this area, no RUPTL. So I have to wait until the RUPTL, yeah, planning, strategic, is there. And also pricing policy. Pricing policy, PPA, is very important. How the financing can offer us, if not calculation according to the pricing. Now, Indonesia since 2016, they have some what the PPA Presiden Presiden degree 2000, yeah, yeah, but no, it's not valid anymore, Pak. Yeah, it still had to be negotiable all the time. So I think pitting tariff there's no more in PLN, Pak. Yeah, pitting tariff. Yeah. So based on that's why if somebody want to invest, they don't know how to calculate initially. Yeah, how much the pricing. When you enter, you have to negotiate the plan, maybe. And then the other thing, because PLN based on whoever offer the cheaper. Let's say you make a wind turbine, wind farm, somebody offer 5 cents. Oh, so you have to follow those guys, yeah. But oh, I read different, yeah. Maybe this is a wind strong, and then our wind is not strong, or investment is higher because we put in the mountain. This is lower, so price is not same everywhere, yeah. But somebody or other company, let's say, oh, we can offer you 6 cents per kilowatt hour. And then people say, oh, you have to follow. This guy can do. Why not can you do it? So this is the problem for me. But so this is how can we enter easily and then make it RVTL is adoptable and easy to any demand you can change. That's my question. I think you understand.
Okay.
Terima kasih Pak. When we are talking about the tariff, we believe that there is not the PLN capacity because that is not independent. So that in terms of the policy, government in the past introduced the fit and tariff. However, the prior cabinet evaluate that policy, then that is not applied yet. And for the next, based on my understanding and information that I got, the government believes the market system so cannot put the fit and tariff concept to promote the renewable investment in the future. However, the challenge now in terms of the investment on the power is about the demand side. So PLN would like to encourage the government, especially for the investment side, to promote the demand first, or at least parallelly, so that if we can build together, demand side and supply side together, it is very helpful to address your question, Pak. That is PLN would like trying to address to the government. And when we are talking about the National Electricity Planning, RUPTL or RUKN, like Pak Jisman mentioned before, I think PLN concept and the accelerated renewable energy, it is in line with the government policy in terms of volume, place, and timing. However, at the end is how to execute that in favor of the developer and also from the government side. Because if there is a financial gap, the question is who will fill the gap? The government or your financer or any party can come with the cheaper financing, and yeah, that's why we need to talk together how to handle and promote the renewable energy development. There is not only the homework for the PLN, but also everybody who has the interest or concern for the better life in the future. We need your part, Pak, as a Kadin, especially on the renewable energy division. Yesterday, I met with your team, and we have set a schedule to meet on the Thursday morning in Jakarta next today and talk about this. Yeah, thank you, Pak.
Okay, thank you, Pak, Mr. Didi, and I think our discussion is more interesting, but unfortunately time is up. So Okay. Okay, Van.
I think I am in the middle, yeah, because I'm ex-PLN, but now not PLN. So I'm in the middle, my position. But I tell you about the wind power of 5 cent. We make discussion with Adaro. If you have 5 cent wind power, it will kill all the wind power. Because in Indonesia, if 5 cent happen, after that must be less than 5 cents. This will kill the industry. That's my comment. So we need to discuss this later in Jakarta, whether we will continue with this attitude. Because if the lowest one happen, and then the next one must be cheaper than that, that will kill the transition. That's my comment.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Herman. In conclusion, this transition is not only about addressing environmental concern, but also ensuring that the process is fair, inclusive, and takes into the social and economic aspect, and also enabling factor have a significant impact on the success of the energy transition. So we need collaboration and cooperative synergy between all parties. Only through collective action, collaboration, and synergy, we can navigate the complexity of this transition and to achieve net zero emission. Thank you for all the speakers for the wonderful insight. I believe everyone in this room is very excited about the discussion with the interesting topic, just an orderly transition. So thank you all. I appreciate it and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.